All right, let's get started. It has been a bit of a mad scramble to get the new Stockscores Education Center up online, but it is online now, so it's not completely done, but we've been scrambling to get everyone set up so that they can see it, at least those who are eligible for it. So, my name is Tyler Ballhorn. I'm the founder of Stockscores, and I'm going to take you through a little presentation on our new Stockscores Education Center. We'll talk about what it is, why we did it, the benefits, who will get access to it. I'll give you a tour of it. And then at the end of the night, because the markets have been so tumultuous lately, I will analyze the markets for you and just give you my thoughts on where I think the overall market is going, where I see opportunities, that sort of thing. All right, so let's get right into it. Number one, what is the Stockscores Education Center? Well, it's an online resource for investors and traders to learn the Stockscores approach. Many of you have taken one of my classes over the last 15 years. And I've always wanted to really make a really solid online resource for teaching. Typically, when I teach a class, I teach in a classroom. I do that a couple times a year. And we have online resources to supplement that, but I really wanted something that could stand on its own and give me an opportunity to have dynamic content where, you know, if I come up with a new strategy one day, you don't have to wait till the next class to learn it. I can upload a new strategy. I can modify an old strategy, so it's very dynamic, and that's really what we've done with the Stockscores Education Center. The content is fairly in-depth. We are about 80% done, all of the content that will be there ultimately, and I'll hope to have up to 95% of that done in the next week. I'm just putting on the last bit every day. For each lesson, there's typically a written lesson that you can read online. You can also print it so that you can read it offline. There will be a video, or there is a video, an assignment, which gives you a list of things to practice to learn the skills taught in the lesson, and then there is a test in many of the lessons so that you can test yourself to see if you understand the concepts. And we'll show you all of this as we go through this evening. Now, we've changed how the SEC works. In the past, we just had the Stock School Pro, which was a big book, 386-page book, some online videos in support of that book. It was all created back in, I think, 2006 maybe, and it was getting a bit dated. My hair was more plentiful. I looked pretty young, so I've updated everything to sort of get in touch with reality. So the new education bundles, as it's organized, is there is a getting started area where we have mostly videos that explain how to use the market scan tool, how to use the risk calculator, what the stock scores are based on, what the stock market is, how the stock market works, some of the basic knowledge that you need either to get started in investing or use the Stockscores website. Then we've got the foundation level, which are the core skills for trading, whether you are a long-term trader looking to own stocks in your RSP and keep them long-term, or your 401ks for our American friends. No matter what kind of trading you're going to do, even if you want to be a day trader or a swing trader, there's certain things you have to know about risk management, about analyzing charts, about sizing positions, about knowing when to exit a trade, those sorts of things. That's all covered in the foundation. In the investor bundle, we go into strategies for investors. So not for day traders, not swing traders, but people that, you know, might do 10 to 20 trades a year, who want to own stocks for months or years potentially, maybe even weeks, but certainly not less than weeks. The kind of person who maybe doesn't have a lot of time to devote to the market. If you only want to put in some time on the weekends, then there's a strategy there for that. If you want to put in some time just once a month, there is a strategy for that. If you want to put in time every day but in the evenings as opposed to, you know, throughout the trading day, there is a strategy for that. So that's all covered in the investor area. In the active trader area, we have more active strategies, so day and swing trading strategies, things for people that want to devote a fair amount of time to trading, more what I do, which is spend my day sitting in front of a screen trading all day. Those are the kind of things that you're going to learn in the active trader course. In addition, we are going to be doing monthly webinars. I actually started doing those a couple of months ago, but I'm going to continue to do that. And we're going to have, good ongoing application of the material. So if you've studied the investor strategies, on a regular basis, I'm going to actually walk through how to apply those strategies so that you can really see the application of what you might have learned in one of these education courses. Now, in addition with the Active Trader course, you also get access to all my TradeStation code. I've made some TradeStation videos for those who are more interested in using TradeStation. Again, everything's just updated from old material. The material isn't necessarily that new. I would say there is some new stuff over what was done in '06, but a lot of it's just better organized and cleaned up. So why did I do it? Well, I really felt like it was time to update my current material because a lot of the things that I did 5-6 years ago have been modified a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I have new strategies that I do. I've gotten rid of strategies just because they don't really work as well in the market anymore. Certainly the look that I had on the videos was pretty dated, so that needed to be updated. You won't see me on the videos anymore. You only have to listen to my voice. You don't have to look at me, so that's a big improvement. And now it's just utilizing new technology. The format that I've done it in, the old format didn't work on Macs very well. This new format, you can view it on a PC, a Mac. I was watching videos on my Apple iPhone just now. You can view them on tablets. You can, with the internet being everywhere nowadays, you can sit on the train going to work and listen or watch a video on your iPhone or your Android phone or whatever phone that you like to use. So it's just kind of getting into the modern age, and I think that will be helpful. The biggest thing that I like is that I can add new content when I see fit. So I've got a new strategy, for example, that is a day trading strategy that I've been working on for a while, and I've been trading with a good deal of success this week. Well, I'm going to be adding that new strategy. Once I get the rules finalized in the next week or two, that will be a new strategy in the Active Trader area, and someone that took my Active Trader course 2 years ago is going to be able to see that new content as part of what they are offered. Okay. In addition, I'm finding I'm getting a lot more international interest in my courses and that sort of thing, and I don't really have the time to travel all over the place teaching. It's not my priority. I trade most of my time. I teach a couple of times a year, but I'm not going to be traveling into Europe or Japan or something like that to teach courses. So by putting it online, people anywhere can learn this. And amazingly, we get a surprising number of people from India and China who are looking to learn how to trade the stock market, and now they can learn it as long as they can speak English, because it's all done in English. I will be working towards phasing out of my live training. I think that this new online education is a great way to learn. I am going to be doing at least one more live class tour in November here, and teaching what could be my last class in December. We'll see how it goes, but my hope is that we will be able to phase out the live training so that I can train virtually over the internet and really focus on my own trading and that sort of thing. Again, this just helps me to keep my students up to date on the latest methods and strategies. I'm always giving a little bit of an update on a regular basis. I just want to pause for a moment. Is everybody okay for sound? I've had one person say they're not hearing me, but I know sometimes that's a problem with the individuals. Yeah, it looks like everybody's okay for sound, so that means it's recording as well, and I will be emailing out a link to a recording of this presentation for those that want to check it out later. All right, the benefits of the new Education Center. Easier access. You can get it from any of your machine instead of having to stay away from Apple products. I think it's a much better user experience. I've really tried to shorten the lessons. I know in my own life, I have kids and busy time. I don't have time to watch 45-minute videos, and so I've really tried to shorten each lesson so that each video is, say 10 minutes long, 7 minutes long, some are 12. Some of the strategy lessons and the TradeStation lessons are approaching 30 minutes, but most of the content is a lot shorter. We're all pressed for time, and You know, if you want to squeeze in a lesson on how to read chart patterns, it's nice to be able to do that in 10 minutes instead of an hour, which is what the old lesson took. I've broken it up into smaller pieces and more of them. I think it just allows me to be more timely with new ideas. It's, I think, a lot more convenient, and I've really tried to simplify the material. You know, my first book, training book, was 386 pages long, and a lot of that was good info, but it wasn't necessary info for investing in the market. You didn't need to really know, you know, all of the infinite or intimate details of the efficient market hypothesis and who won a Nobel Prize on why that does not always hold and that kind of thing. So a lot of that's just been simplified, and I really try to focus in on the things you have to know to make money in the market. So who gets access? Here's how it works. Anyone that's taken one of my classes in the past essentially gets grandfathered into the new material, no extra cost. If you took my pro class in the last 15 years, you are now investor status. If you took the investor course, which I've been doing for the last 2 years, you are still an investor. If you took active trader in the last 2 years, you are still active trader. And just a quick thing to mention, the difference between investor and active trader is really the focus in on the TradeStation and my TradeStation indicators. An investor can upgrade to active trader if you want to learn how to day trade, if you want to learn how to swing trade with some of these really active methods and use TradeStation, you can do an upgrade for that. But that's how people transfer over. If you open an account with DisNet tomorrow, you get the foundation course for free, and we'll be announcing a lot more details about that in the weeks ahead. If there's not too many people who've done this, but if you bought the advanced video bundle in the last 10 years, you will transfer over to the foundation bundle, which is actually a pretty good upgrade for you. All right. Sorry, let me just advance my screen here. All right, so I'm going to give you a little tour of the Education Center now. It is about 80% complete. Structurally, it's all there, it all works, but there's more content to come. I haven't done most of the assignments yet. I haven't done most of the tests. I do have one that I just uploaded an assignment about 2 minutes before this presentation started, so we'll see if that worked. I'll try to demo that for you. But in the weeks ahead, probably over the next 10 days to 2 weeks, I will fill in all of the missing pieces. So let's jump over to Stockscores.com now. And the first thing that people who are familiar with the site should notice is that there is now an education box right here on the toolbar that just appeared 15 minutes ago. And I can't stress enough, we were scrambling in the last few minutes to get all of this up, but it is up now. So if you are a current student of mine, or even if you're not, you'll be able to just click on this, and it will show you the components of the Education Center. So I'll just zip through the 4 component areas. There's the Getting Started area, Foundation, Investor, and Active Trader. Getting Started is all free content, so I can click on Getting Started. If I want to know how the Stockscores indicators work, there's a video for that. I just click on the little video icon, and it will start playing a video. Now, all of the videos are up on YouTube, and you can take it to full screen just by clicking on the little full screen icon, so you can see all of the detail. All of the videos are recorded in HD, so they have a lot of detail, and you know, because charts and everything, we need that crispness of high definition, so it is all up there in that regard. All right. Now, I'm just going to go back to the Education Center, and you'll see that in the Getting Started area, it's mostly just videos. There's not a whole lot of reason to have lessons on some of the stuff. I may fill in some of these things with written lessons down the road, but mostly it's just quick videos that explain how to use the market scanner, how to build a watch list or the portfolio creator, and what is my basic approach to the market, what is the theory behind it, how do the Stockscores indicators work, all that kind of stuff. So that's in the Getting Started area, and you can see that that is all free. Now in the Foundation area, we go into a little bit more of the meat of my method. So elements of chart patterns, what are predictive chart patterns, price channels, exit signals, how to do risk management, what is this concept of the expected value of a trade. And you can see the list of content there, and again, there'll probably be a couple more that will be added there, but in this section, mostly what's going to fill out is we'll have tests for most of these areas and assignments for most of these areas. Thus far, I just haven't had time to finish it all. It's been 2 weeks of working 15 hours a day getting all this stuff done, and I've just run out of time to get everything up, but I will get it finished soon. So let me just walk you through this first module, the 6 elements of chart patterns. If you hover over the title, you can just see a description of what that module does. So this one just talks about how focusing on the 6 elements of chart patterns allow you to analyze any stock in seconds, any market in seconds, and really understand the pieces of chart patterns. Now if we go into lesson, you can see, well, first of all, there's a little bug there. I'll fix that. But you can see the different content as you cycle through. You can read it online. It talks about horizontal support, trend line of support, resistance. It's a fairly in-depth module. I won't go into all the details about it because you don't need to see that. This thing here is just a little bug. I was scrambling at the last minute and I accidentally pasted the wrong chart in. Now, if you wanted to print that, you just click on the little print icon, and there's a bug. Sure, we'll see more of that. Anyway, if you click on this little paper icon, it takes you to the assignment as well. So let's go back here. The print button will, I'll show you in another one, it will essentially give you a PDF document that you can view offline, so you can print it off, and it's all formatted properly so you can see it that way. Now if you want to watch the video, you can click on the little video icon there, or you can go back and just click on the video icon here. And again, click on the video. It'll start the video. The video is small to fit there, but if you want to make it full screen, just start it and click on the little full screen icon down in the bottom right hand corner, and it will make it a full screen video, and you can see all of the details that you need to see in the chart. All right, so I'm going to just fast forward into this a little bit, and there you can see that the resolution is pretty crisp. It's high definition. Now, if you're viewing it on a cell phone and a bad cell connection, the resolution might drop down. But just so you know, if ever you want to change the resolution of a video, just click on this little gear icon down in the bottom right, and it will show you all your options. So it does go up to HD, but you can lower that if you don't want to use up too much bandwidth. You can lower the resolution as well. All right, so let's go back, and I'm going to click on an assignment here. Let's see if this works. So here's an assignment, and just a series of exercises on the things you need to know about chart patterns, labeling the chart, and then there's an answer. So I can click on Show Answer, and I have recorded a video that gives you the answers for that assignment. I'm not going to show you the answer yet because you got to do the work first. Okay. Now that's the foundation investor, are the actual strategies, and here's where I have to fill in some stuff. I've got, I think, 3 or 4 more investor strategies to create. And then in the active trader, I've got a couple more, including some new strategies for the active trader area. And there's also TradeStation videos here. So if you want to learn how to use TradeStation, you can read a document. And there you can see some of the information on how TradeStation works. And of course, you can print this. Let's see if it works this time. There, that worked. So there's the PDF document, so you can print it out. And if you want to watch the video, you can just click on the video icon there, and it'll jump you to the video of that particular lesson. So that's pretty much the tour of the Education Center. Someone is asking me, will the old format still be available? I will be phasing that out. I think it's still up now, but we will be phasing it out, but I assure you that nothing in the old area is lost, at least nothing that's important. Some of the old I used to do some old videos that were sort of a weekly video thing, and those will be gone. But all of the content from the old stock school material has basically been transferred here, but I've cleaned it up and I have made it simpler. So I think the old material will be taken out as time passes here. We just have to reformat some of the pages on the site. I think that's it. I'll take some questions and then I'll do my market discussion because I wanted to give you some insight into what's happening in the market right now. Any questions for me at this point? Just pull up some charts while you're typing in questions. Now, very quickly, if you are a student of mine from any time in the last 15 years that I've been teaching, you should have access to this. Now, we ran a script to transfer everyone over, and if somehow that missed someone, it's possible that out of all the people that I've taught over the years, we might have missed transferring someone over properly. Don't get too upset. I'll straighten it out. Just send me an email, and I will answer that for you. So someone is asking me a question about material that they have for a course that they took last year, and you will just be transferred over to this new stuff, but the old videos that I sent you links to, those still exist. So if you have an old video or something that I created a year ago, those still exist. But all of the Stock School videos that were on the Stockscores website, they are being replaced by this new content. And I encourage you to just go in there, play around, make sure that you have access. If you have some questions about the access you have, send me an email. I can check your records. We have everything documented, so we can work from that. Another question, what is the difference between foundation, investor, and active trader? So foundation is the basic knowledge for reading charts, for doing risk management. It's all of the stuff you need to know to do my method. So when I teach a class, that's primarily what we focus on. We spend a day going through how to read chart patterns, how to do risk management, what are the buy signals, what are the sell signals, that sort of thing. It's everything but the actual rules for when to buy and the rules for when to sell. All right, so that is something that is covered in the investor or the active trader sections. So the investor section is the strategies for when to buy for my position trading strategies. So here you can see 5 strategies explained, and as I said, there's a couple more to come. So if you want, actually it's 4 strategies plus the exit strategy. So if you wanted to know how the Stockscores simple daily strategy works, you click on this and you read the rules, or you watch the video and you learn it from there as well. Okay, so you can watch the video, and this particular video is I think about 20-25 minutes long that explains the rules for that strategy. Now the active trader, same concept, except the strategies are different. The strategies are intraday strategies, so either day trading or swing trading. All right, got lots of questions, so I'll try to pick up the pace a little bit. How do I know what level I am in? If you log in, it'll show you what level you're in. So you see here for me it says purchase, 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 so it's giving me access to everything. If you see a price here, that means you haven't paid for that. So most people will be investor. Most of my students from the past, if you've never taken one of my courses, you're going to be getting started. And you're going to see a priced upgrade to foundation, or a priced upgrade to investor, or a priced upgrade to active trader. If you are just one of my advanced members where you're subscribing to the tool, but you've never bought one of our courses, nothing changes for you. You don't have access to the course material unless you pay for that stuff. Will we have access tonight or tomorrow? You should have access right now. I say should because we just ran a script to give everyone access, but it's possible that we may have missed someone. So if you've ever taken one of my courses, you should have access. So if you've ever paid to come to one of my classes or do the home study version of my classes, I don't care if it was 10 years ago. If you took my very first class in 2000, you should have access to at least the investor. If you've never bought one of my classes, then that's different. If you're a DISNAT client and you log in through DISNAT, you should have access as well, because we're not taking away DISNAT clients' access. If you're a new client of DISNAT starting tomorrow, you'll have foundation access. Roy, you're asking me about DISNAT account. You should have access to investor and that level. Just reading some questions here. How do you answer the test questions online? I didn't show you that. I haven't really uploaded many tests yet, and I did one just as a test, a test of a test. So I'll just show you how it works. There's only 2 questions on here, but you will just go in here and put in your answer, and complete the test. This isn't finished yet, so as I said, it's 80% done, this area. This area is one that's not done. but there might be in this test on risk management, there might be 10 questions. You'll answer those questions, submit your test, and it will give you a mark out of 10 or whatever the mark is. And then you'll also be able to see the answers if you want. It will track your test scores, and if you want to go back and redo a test, you can do that. Right now the tests aren't up, but they will be up as soon as I can get it done. Yes, you can upgrade from a lower tier to a higher tier, and when you log in, it will show you the upgrade price. So if I had only done the foundation and I'd paid for the foundation, it would say to upgrade to investor is $1,245. I don't even know what the upgrade price is, but you'll see that when you log in. So if you are an investor student, if you took my class, my Stock School Pro class in 2007, and you're an investor student, it will show you when you log in what your upgrade fee is to go to the Active Trader course. If you are a DISNAT client, the upgrade fees are less than if you are not a DISNAT client. And so I'm going to just let everyone sort of go in and play with it and see what you want. And if you have questions, email me because I'll be happy to answer your questions. The fees for the courses. Okay, so the online courses are Foundation $995, Investor $24.95, and Active Trader $34.95. But again, you may have upgrades. If you're a DISNAT client, those prices are lower, and all of those things will be announced from DISNAT in the next week or two. Do you keep your status permanently? Yeah, if you've taken in the investor course, like I've said tonight, someone that took my pro course in 2002 is still an investor course. They don't lose their access as long as you are a member of Stockscores. Well, as long as you log into Stockscores, you can get access to that, unless I suppose my servers blow up and I go out of business. I don't know. I've been in business a long time, so I'm not too worried about that. Mary is asking if what scans I have stopped using. That's another thing I didn't discuss. I am changing the scans that you will see in the market scan. So if you have some favorite market scans that are presets that you like to do, I'm not talking about your presets, but the ones that we've given you, it's a good idea to print the settings off for yourself, because we are going to get rid of some of them. And mostly because I just don't think that they're necessary anymore. It's a good idea to print off anything that you have favorites. They may still stay, but I am going to be cleaning it up. If you go in there now, into the market scan, I'll show you here, and you go into the presets, there's just way too many on here, and most of them are variations of some others. So what I'm slowly doing is putting a star beside the ones that are applicable these days. There's a few more that I have to do, so some of these will still stay as well, but you can see that there's a lot, and I'm going to be cleaning that list up and getting rid of some of those. So if you have some favorites and you don't want to, you worry that you don't want to lose some of them, I would just print it off and you can see. Yeah, the old material is still available on the site, but we will be getting rid of that stuff. The reason is it's not applicable, or it's not, none of that old material works on Macs very well, and it's old, and you know, I may archive it somewhere. I'm not saying it'll disappear for certain, but our plan was basically just to replace everything. The content that is on the site now is the same content as before, just new video formats. You don't see my face talking anymore. It's way more reliable, streams better, that kind of thing. Someone is asking if you can use platforms other than TradeStation. Absolutely. I use TradeStation because I like it, but lots of my students use many other things. And you know, I use the DISNAT trading platform as well for charting. I just like TradeStation. I've used it for a long time, and a lot of my sort of high end students, that people that day trade for a living, use it as well. So, but out of all my students, very few actually use TradeStation. Most people don't. So I don't want anyone to think that you have to use it. It's just something that I teach. Very good question. Does Active Trader also unlock the investor tier? Yes, it does. So if you sign up for Active Trader, you get everything below. If you sign up for investor, you get everything below. Foundation, everything below. If you sign up for foundation only, then you got to upgrade to investor. Okay, so it's like going up a ladder. So someone is asking about their DISNAT client and they only have limited access to the website. I just want to make everyone clear, if you are a DISNAT client, you have full access to Stockscores as long as you log in using the link in the DISNAT trading platform. Okay, so if you if you want to have access to the market scan tool, you're a DISNAT client, you can just log into your DISNAT trading platform and click on the Stockscores link under Research or under Tools on the DISNAT platform, depending on which one you use, and that'll get you in the back door into Stockscores. So I think most people know that, but I just wanted to make sure. If you want to upgrade, does the initial investment apply to the upgrade? Yes, there's a small extra fee for moving up the ladder, so I think it's a $250 extra fee. So if you are at Foundation and you want to go to Investor, you pay the difference plus $250. Do you still need to renew your Stockscores membership? If you want to use the Market Scan tool, you need to keep your Stockscores membership up to date. What sort of scans will be available with Foundation on DISNAT? Those will be, if you're a DISNAT client as of now, you'll have the investor scans. Can a person use interactive brokers? Yeah, you can use whatever broker you want. We don't have a discount for interactive brokers clients, so you know the only brokerage that we have a partnership with is DISNAT. But I'd be open to opening a partnership with a U.S. broker. For Canada, DISNAT has exclusivity over Stockscores. If I do not have DISNAT, then do I have to renew your membership? Yes, you do. What time period do the fees for a given level cover? So I want to differentiate between the education and access to our tools. If you want access to our tool, if you want to use the market scan, you can subscribe to that. That's going to change, but as of today, you can pay $29 a month to use the market scan tool. Soon, I'm not going to tell you when, but soon, you will only be able to pay $29 a month if you have done the foundation. However, I'm going to grandfather anyone that has done it before. So if tonight you subscribe to the advanced market scan, which is $29 a month, I'm not going to turn you off when I change the structure. However, if you wait and in 2 weeks I decide that now's the time that you have to have taken at least the foundation to use the market scan, you're going to have to pay $995 plus $29 a month to use the market scan. Now, all of this stuff will be on pages that will explain all this. I apologize, just we've been so swamped, none of those things are built yet, but we will have some descriptions of this and how it all works. It's all sort of being done right now. I just wanted to get enough of this to give you a sneak peek at what we're doing here. Now, if you buy the course, let's say you decide you want to be an active trader and you pay the $3,495, you're going to get access to all of this education content as long as Stockscores is around. You will get 6 months of access to the market scan tool as part of taking that course. After the 6 months, you pay $300 a year to maintain your membership. If you're a DISNAT client, you don't have to pay the $300 a year. If you're not a DISNAT client, you pay the $300 a year. That's basically how it works. If you are a former DISNAT client and you are no longer a DISNAT client and you want access to this education, which you used to have access to, you have to pay for it. Because as a DISNAT client, you didn't pay to get access to a lot of this stuff. And if you close your account at DISNAT, you don't get access to it anymore. You can pay for it, certainly, but you don't get free access. The only people that get free access are people with current accounts with DISNAT. All right, I think I've caught up on all the questions. Lots of questions. That's great. I'm happy to see lots of questions, and I hope you'll just pardon me a little bit because we've been working so hard to get this thing built. There's some holes in some of the material. You can see that you know, there's assignments and tests that aren't filled in yet. That's coming soon. There are all of the pages that explain the fees and how you register. That's coming soon. If you want to sign up for my class tomorrow, you can, but I would recommend you ask me some questions by email so I can just make sure I've explained it all to you, because I know it's a bit confusing for me to explain it through this presentation. There will be pages up soon that do that. I'm also doing a Canadian-wide tour to launch this new tool. That starts November 8th, I believe. I will be in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and Surrey. And I will also try to do some webinars of those presentations for those who are not in those cities. So I know a lot of people on here are from the United States. I will do a webinar for you guys. If you're in Saskatoon and you can't come to Calgary, I'll certainly be doing a webinar for you as well. Just stay tuned to the Stockscores homepage because I will put those dates up there for the webinars as well. Am I going to continue with my daily notes? Absolutely. Have I made money this last month? Yeah, let's talk about that. So I'm going to jump over to, which tool should we use? Maybe I'll start off by doing, I'll give you a little insight into what I've been doing this week, well, this month. So the market's obviously been in turmoil, and everyone's wondering, is it over? I'm going to try to give you some insight into that. So I'm going to, how am I going to do this? I'll drop this chart down. I've got 8 screens in front of me, so you're only seeing one of my 8 screens, so I'm just moving some stuff over. So anytime the market is correcting, you're never going to see me happier. It's one of the easiest markets to trade. I absolutely love it. When the market corrected in 2011, it was so easy to make money. When the market corrected in 2009, so easy to make money. And the reason is because there's lots of volatility and there's lots of emotion. And the way I trade that market is through the VIX, VXX, here's the chart of that, or through the inverse of the VIX, which is the XIV. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up a 2-minute chart of the VIX, and I'll actually make this 13-minute, just take it back a little farther. So these aren't Stockscores charts right now. These are charts on TradeStation. I've got my TradeStation trading set up on this computer as well. So you can see that the VIX, while the market corrected, went from $30 to $44 in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 days. So that's a 50% run in 4 or 5 days. And I have been trading in and out of this probably, I can tell you exactly how many times, 41 times. Well, that's not all VIX trades. Probably 30 times, 30 trades in the last 4 or 5 days in and out of the VIX. And in that time, on a percentage basis for invested capital, I was thinking about this afternoon. So my position size is never probably greater on these trades than maybe $80,000. Let's call it $100,000 just for the sake of round numbers. It's not that big, but let's use that number. But of course, when you day trade, you get 3-to-1 margin. So for putting up $30,000 to $40,000 of equity in the last 3 days, I've made probably $12,000, $13,000 on that amount of equity. So that's the kind of volatility that we have right now, and it really makes trading a lot of fun. So I'm not going to tell you how I do that. That's something you have to take my active trader class for. But as an example of a trade, I will pull up the last trade I did. So that's on XIV. So when the market's going up, I trade the XIV. When the market's going down, I trade the VIX. These lines that you see here are based on my entry price. So I bought the XIV right there. My stop was right there. The difference between those two, so buy at 25.33, stop loss at 24.89, that's my risk. So if I bought 1,000 shares, my risk was 25.33 minus 24.89, or 44 cents a share. So 1,000 shares times 44 cents is a risk of $440. Now I bought 3,000 shares. So when I talk about my position size, that's how you get that number. 3,000 times 25 bucks is $75,000. But again, you can leverage that 3-to-1 when you day trade. So now watch what this trade did. It went up once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times risk. That means for every $100 I risked, I made $700. If I risked $1,000, I made $7,000. So on that trade where I bought 3,000 shares, my risk was about $1,200, $1,300. So 7 times 13, $8,100. Unfortunately, I sold it early. I got shaken out right here. But I still, today made $4,000. Yesterday, I think $4,500. The day before, $8,000. So you can sort of get a sense of how I've been trading this market. Now, I only do this particular strategy when the market is in correction mode, and it won't last that way forever, and then I'll go back to my simple swings and my other day trading strategies. What I want to give you some insight in on now is what's going on in the market and how to know when the correction's over. So the first thing I want to pull up, and I've jumped back to Stockscores now, is a chart of the S&P 500. Now I'm going to make this a 3-year chart. And what you can see, and I know many of you watch my Market Minute videos on YouTube every week. They're free for those of you that want to watch them. So in the last few weeks I've been talking about the likelihood of a correction, and we had a break of the upward trend line last week, and that was really my signal that there was going to be greater weakness. And how do I know that? I just draw a straight line across these rising bottoms. The channel was broken, and so we had that breakdown 2 weeks ago. You didn't have to see the breakdown. If you just watch the market over the last little while, you'll know that the buyers were gone. They just weren't motivated. That's been the case for a couple of months. Started with the small cap sector. There you can see a chart of the small cap ETF. It rolled over, you know, a month, 6 weeks before the actual S&P 500 rolled over and broke its upward trend line way back over here. So I've sort of seen this coming, but it only really got fun to trade in the last 2 weeks because that's when the volatility really picked up. And today, an important signal came. And for those of you that read my newsletters or watch my videos, you'll know that I think it was 2 weeks ago, I did an article about trend reversals. And in that article, I talked about the 3 stages of a trend reversal. Stage 1 is a break of the trend line. Stage 2 is the formation of a rising bottom. And stage 3 is a break from a rising bottom. Well, today, the market broke a very short-term downward trend line. So let me just zoom in on this a little bit. So this, what you're seeing on screen now, is a 15-day, 15-minute chart of the S&P 500. So you can see there was the start of the breakdown on October 1st, and then we broke down even more over here. You can see the falling tops building, and the trend has gone from being linear to being parabolic to the downside. Well, today, the market this morning, well, midday, the Dow was down about 400 points, but it came back, and it broke the steep downward trend line around the middle of the day. That's around the time that I bought the XIV for my last day trade of the day. So this is step 1 in a trend reversal. Now, it has risen up to this trend line where it will probably get stuck. So tomorrow, I think there's a good chance we pull back again. But if the market can make a rising bottom and get through on the SPY, the 187 mark, I think we will have overcome the correction. Let's take a look at the energy sector, because the energy sector has really been the most beat up of the last little while, maybe outside of small caps. But with a rising US dollar, with supply coming on, the energy sector has been absolutely pummeled. And if we look at a 3-year chart, you can see that we've fallen to some pretty important long-term support right around in here, which was a bottom that was hit twice in the last little while. So I've been calling for a bounce in the oil market because of that parabolic fall into support. And today, it made something I call a dead cat bounce signal, where it hit a new low and closed well above its open. Now, it's done that before. Okay, so, but today was a pretty strong signal. Look at the huge volume on the XLE today. That's a pretty strong sign that the energy sector is going to bounce. Helping that, the US dollar. So now I'm going to pull up a chart of the US dollar ETF, UUP. And there you can see, again, a market that just went crazy to the upside, a super run to the upside. But again, if you watch my Market Minutes video, you'll know that in the last 3 weeks, I've been calling for a top in the US dollar simply because it was hitting the price peak of 2012. Well, that's exactly what's happened. And now we're getting the pullback. And what was very important today is the market for the US dollar went down from a falling top. So I don't think the strength is necessarily over in the US dollar. I think the US dollar is simply pulling back to this longer term down upward trend line, but that is being supportive to gold. So we take a look at the gold chart. You can see gold has been coming back lately, and on the 3-year you can see it's bouncing off long-term support. I think it's still a very marginal chart because we still have overwhelming pessimism on the gold chart, but it's encouraging if you're an investor in commodities. So we're seeing a lot of signs that all of the panic selling is starting to change. The sector that I love to trade is the small caps. I do a swing trading strategy which hasn't worked very well. It's not that it hasn't worked very well. It hasn't given a lot of entry signals the last 6 weeks because the small cap sector has been in a corrective phase, and most of my swing trades come from the small cap sector. So where I used to get 5 to 10 signals a day, I might get 2 or 3 a week in the last 6 weeks. So that's been kind of a drag, but it's made up for it by the action in the XIV. So that's another thing, is I'm always trying to move into strategies based on where the hot market is. The easiest way to make money in any market is to find the hot market. If you do the same thing every day for the rest of your life, you'll be bored most of the time. You have to go where the action is. Right now the action is in fear, which is the VIX. There you can see fear and the big jump up. I think some of that fear is going to come out of the market in the short term. All right, so let's also take a look at the Canadian index. Canadian market, again, a bungee jump, was the top performing market in the world up until the start of September. Then the US dollar started its rally. That takes money out of commodities, which is heavily weighted in the Canadian index. And you can see the big bungee jump in the Canadian market. It too made a pretty good comeback. It didn't quite close above its open, so I'm not so eager yet to call a bottom in the Canadian market, but you know, a lot of the sectors in Canada are just really been oversold and starting to bounce. There's the gold sector. It's starting to build some short-term optimism. By the way, this market has lots of work to do. I'm not saying it's over, but it's making a step in the right direction. And the energy sector made that dead cat bounce signal where it closed above its open after hitting a new low in a parabolic downward trend. So we're seeing lots of signs that the market is going to try to make a bounce. Whether it succeeds or not will take some time. We're going to know in the next week or two. All right, so that's an overview of the market, and I will maybe take some more questions if you have any. If you want to just post your questions to the question form there, and I'll try to get caught up. So a question about how my interest in my opinion on how long the volatility will continue. I think that volatility is going to continue for at least 2 or 3 weeks based on how much volatility there has been. So I think we can trade the VIX for another 2 or 3 weeks. Could be longer, but you know, if today's the bottom in the market, you're going to go through lots of volatility while people stop freaking out, and you will get people, you'll get a rally to the upside, and then you get people second guessing that and selling into strength, and hedge funds that get margin calls, and there's going to be lots of volatility. And if you're not able to watch the market really closely, I recommend you stay in cash. I've been advising my readers to stay in cash for quite some time, with maybe a few nibbles here and there, trying to bottom fish some of these oil stocks. But I think it's, you know, for an investor, it's still a good time to stay in cash. I do think you can maybe start to dip a toe in the water and buy some of those energy names because they are so oversold, but don't jump in with both feet because we could still get another downward leg. You got to just put a little bit in now, and then if it starts to materialize, add some more to those positions later. So someone's asking me if I watch inventory levels and that sort of thing on energy. You don't have to watch that. The market does that work for you. All that I do is watch the market. So there are people that know way more about the oil and gas industry, who know way more about what the Saudis are doing and what Iran is doing, all that stuff. When that information hits the market, it gets priced in immediately, and it shows up in the chart. All I do is look at the chart. You just have to learn how to read the chart. That's what I teach people how to do. That's what the foundation course is for. And then the next step is my rules for when to buy and when to sell, so that you would know, why did I buy the XIV today at that moment that I showed you? Why did I buy I actually bought the VXX this morning, made a good trade on the VXX earlier in the day when the market was testing its lows. So, you know, the market had some pretty wild swings today, and you can take advantage of those swings if you know how to trade them. So I don't see any more questions coming in. I will put my email address up on screen. I forgot to do that in this presentation, so let me just type it in here somewhere. Hopefully you can see the screen here. So my email address is tylerb@stockscores.com, and if you have any questions, we've covered a lot of information. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to email me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I am recording this as long as it worked, and it usually works. I will send an email. I'll email out a link to everyone, and we'll do it that way. David is asking if you can still buy the alert service alone. Yes, you can. And Michael is asking about October. It's supposed to be the up month due to fiscal year ends. Is this what keeps the market from really going down? I don't know. I think that there's a psychological aspect to the sell-offs that we see in the fall. You know, we've had big corrections in October, but historically October is actually an up month. I always tend to think of the strong season for trading as one starting late in October, early November, and I think that's how it's going to be this year. Corrections are fantastic. I mean, I know that they're lousy to ride them out. I don't ride them out. I sell before that happens. But if you are in the correction, I know it's lousy, but realize that corrections are what recharge the buyers. They give the buyers an incentive to come back to the market. And the best bull markets come right after corrections. So, you know, you go look at the bottom in 2009, the rally after the tech bubble burst in March of 2000. It took a little longer on that one. The rally we had after 2011's big correction. Those are great money-making opportunities, and so you have to embrace them and cherish them because that's when the money is made. And what happens is corrections scare all investors away. They get all upset. They saw their portfolio up 20% and all of a sudden they're even, and they say, I hate the stock market. The stock market is rigged, and they swear themselves off of stocks at exactly the wrong time because that's right when the market bottoms and then starts up again. I'm not saying this is the bottom. I'm saying there's a good chance it's a bottom, but don't run away from the market when everyone else is, because that's the time when you should be looking for opportunities. I think Warren Buffett has said it best, the best time to buy stocks is when there's blood in the streets. I think, will I let you know when I think the correction is done? Yeah, if you watch my Market Minute videos, I'll always comment on that. So if you go to the homepage of Stockscores, every weekend I do a new video and you can watch it there. The easiest way to watch my videos is just to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free. Go to YouTube and look up stockscores.com, with spelling out the word .com on YouTube, and you can subscribe to my channel. Every week I do a new video. I do the analysis I did tonight, more in depth actually. I provide a trading idea, that sort of thing, concept, and it's free. So you know, I've been doing this for 25 years. I got a pretty good handle on how to read charts. So I think everyone should take a look at that. The other thing someone's just reminding me, I do also have a Twitter feed, and I post my videos on Twitter as well. So my Twitter feed is just @Stockscores. So what you see in my email address here, @stockscoresno.com. So if you're on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, and I will update you on that. I also, once in a while, I'll send out little comments about the market and that sort of thing. All right, how are we doing for time? Covered a lot of info. I hope it was useful to all of you. I will try to get the video up for you as soon as I can. And if nothing else, trade well and enjoy the volatility. You can make lots of money off of it, but if you're not watching the market closely, sit in cash for a little bit, play it cool, but realize that this does create opportunity and you shouldn't run away from the markets. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.